in 1932. We're going to have 2 sessions, 2 lots of 15 minutes to get us through to the end of 1945. Got to get it done, so you might need to pause and rewind if you need to, because there's a lot going on in some of these years. So we've got the international relations side. We got most of what's going on in Germany with 6 million unemployed in 1932. The reaction of the Weimar Republic we talked about. All of that is creating the perfect situation for the Nazis, where they're going to have their best ever result in an election in July. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and we've got over 37% of the vote goes to the Nazis. It's 230 seats in the Reichstag. That makes them the biggest party in the Reichstag, and huge amounts of power going to Hitler, as you're going to see coming out when the battle for the chancellorship comes out in 1933. There are 3 elections that year. There's one in September, where the presidency is up for grabs. I'm sure you all remember Hitler's electoral campaign, where he takes to the air and he goes to 21 cities in 7 days, is called Hitler over Germany. Doesn't win that election, comes pretty close, and again looks like a credible alternative for a leader of Germany. Although the Nazis run out of money, so when it does come to the November Reichstag election as well, because the government is such a shambles at this time, no one can govern for any period of time. The Nazis actually lose some seats there. They got only 33% of the vote in November, but still the biggest party. Maybe the Nazis had their time and they'd missed their opportunity. That wasn't to be the case though. So if we move to 1933, crucial year, a massive year for the timeline. Make sure you understand the political shenanigans that's going on in Germany at the time. You got 2 key rivals, von Papen, von Schleicher, neither of whom command the support or the respect of the Reichstag, neither of whom can govern, and so von Papen persuades Hindenburg to appoint Hitler as Chancellor, and he crows, "We've hired him." That's a crucial date in history, everyone should remember it. Be able to explain why Hitler was appointed Chancellor. Don't forget, the whys don't fit on the timeline very easily, so you guys have to fill in the gaps with things like that. And from then, really, Adolf Hitler is going to change the rules, and he's going to revolutionise what's going on in Germany very, very quickly. They thought they could control him. They were very much mistaken. Hitler turns up to the Reichstag when it's ablaze on the night of the 27th of February and claims this must be the work of the communists. Your friend of mine, van der Lubbe, is arrested after running around in the halls with his shirt off, having set loads of fires everywhere. Brilliant propaganda for the Nazis. They're able to arrest 4,000 communists in a single night. Sounds a bit fishy. And basically ban the communists from participating in the Reichstag from then on, a crucial event in the Nazis' rise to power, or consolidation of power, perhaps we should say, now that Hitler is Chancellor. Make sure you know the impact of the Reichstag fire. When you get to March, you've got another election, and that election on the back of the Reichstag fire is the one where the Nazis get the biggest percentage of the votes they ever get. They get 43.9%, and they cheated the hell out of it as well. They arrested thousands of opponents beforehand. People disappeared in the middle of the night. They watched people casting their ballots. So it was a dodgy rigged election, but that didn't stop them. There were 288 seats in the Reichstag, but that still wasn't enough for the 2/3 majority that Hitler needed for an enabling act. But he gets it through in the same month of March, having banned the communists, having brutalised the Social Democrats, got the Hitler Youth to beat them up on the way in, and the SA guards to basically bolt the doors once they were in the Reichstag, and said, well, in fact, not the Reichstag, because it was burnt down, the Kroll Opera House, and said, you're not leaving until you vote for the Enabling Act. Hitler bullies his Enabling Act through, 444 votes to 94. It's passed by, and now everyone should be aware. What can he do? pass laws without the Reichstag. Crucial in terms of impact. All these events you need to be able to explain their impact and how they help the Nazis consolidate their power. Already in March 1933, with these emergency powers that Hitler's got from the Reichstag fire, of being able to search people's houses and confiscate property, you get the establishment of the first of the concentration camps just outside Munich, and it's called Dachau. I'll do a few more on the on this side before I flip over the screen. So, big year in terms of foreign policy as well. Once Hitler comes to power, make sure you could explain what his aims in foreign policy were as well. Don't forget Groß Deutschland. Don't forget your Lebensraum. Don't forget the idea of the international pythons, what he calls Marxism, and the desire to destroy communism. And of course, he wants to rip up the Treaty of Versailles. Lots of 1930s is geared towards those things, and you've got to find out when he achieved those aims, how successful he is at achieving those aims. You could get questions on that. In March, having been voted down 42-1 on the Lytton report, the Japanese realise there's no point them being in the league anymore. All the wheels are starting to come off. The Germans saw this, realised, well, they're a major power and they don't seem to be getting what they want out of the league, maybe we should do the same. They were in the disarmament conference, but by October, Hitler left the conference. Not personally, but he pulled Germany out of the conference, and he left the league, pulled out Germany out of the league as well, having been a permanent member on the council. All that goodwill for the 1920s is evaporating at this stage. And indeed, you can even go further and say that once Japan left the league, they invaded another part of China. That's called Jehol. Going a little bit deeper into 1933, big year this one, possibly the biggest on the whole timeline. The Nazis are starting to revolutionise Germany in April. That's when they had their one-day boycott. Almost as severe as we're getting for the likes of Boris at the moment. That was on Jewish shops, obviously. Jewish shops and businesses trying to persuade the Nazis trying to persuade the German population against the people they saw as the scapegoats, the responsibility for many of the woes and ills of Germany over the last 13, 14 years. The Weimar Republic has collapsed by now, having had 25 governments in 14 years, a bit quicker on that this time, and the Nazis are very, very quickly changing the nature of Germany. In May, Hitler takes out another stumbling block to him becoming a dictator, bans trade unions. He can do whatever he likes. He's got the Enabling Act. In June, gets rid of other political parties. What else do we want? And then September, he's revolutionising the German economy as well, actually stealing plans put in there by the Weimar Republic. That's the construction of the first autobahns, trying to tackle the problem of unemployment. A massive, massive year in terms of the timeline. We get to 1934. Still the Nazi revolution is taking hold in Germany. The key event in that in 1934 takes place in June. That's the night of the Long Knives. Hitler bursting into Ernst Röhm's room. Apparently some bloke was carrying a whip at the time. Over 200 opponents of the Nazis are arrested and shot without trial on that night. Make sure you can explain why it happened. Talk about the SA, the fact that they've got up to over 2 million. Talk about Hitler's relationship with the army and what he needs them for. It's not going on the timeline. You can fill that in, but it's all in your notes. This is just supposed to be a skeleton, remember, for you guys to be able to pick and choose the most important bits. Also, in 1934, you get the beginning of the new plan, run by Dr. Hjalmar Schacht. It's a nice, easy one. It's going to try and revolutionise Germany in terms of the economy. Make sure you know the Nazi economic aims. Make sure you can tell me what autarky is. Make sure you can explain how they were going to go about trying to put people back to work. Make sure you can tell us about their desire to rearm Germany as well. This is what really, or one of the plans of this, is to put conscription back into the German economy to give more people jobs. By the time you get to August, you've got possibly the last stumbling block to Hitler becoming a dictator being removed, and the 84-year-old Hindenburg dies. Hitler takes over as president without even an election. He's now president and chancellor, and he's got the loyalty of the army from the night long night. He's now the Führer. Try stopping him. The army now swears an oath of loyalty. And by that stage, there isn't much left that Hitler hasn't got in his attempt to take over Germany, and you can talk about a totalitarian regime in the offing. There's lots of things we can't put on the timeline, but you can start to talk about the way the SS operate and the way the Gestapo operates down here as well, and why they were so important in Germany. It won't fit the timeline, but it's definitely stuff you need to know. Across the other side, a couple of events in the international arena. You should be aware of this one, you might not have been told. In 1934, Hitler actually attempted the Anschluss again. He started making moves towards Austria. The guy who stopped him was Mussolini, fellow fascist, didn't trust Hitler at the time, proved that he could still be an ally to Britain and France, moved his troops to the Brenner Pass, which is the Italian border with Austria, and at that point Hitler was not powerful to roll the dice, but he was going to gamble later on in the 1930s and gambled very successfully. Finally in 1934, in December, do you know the place? Abyssinian and Italian troops clash at the oasis of Wawa. That's inside the borders of Abyssinia, and that's what Mussolini is going to use as his excuse. Make sure you know why it is that Italy wanted to invade Abyssinia and all the reasons about revenge and waving the bloody flag and distracting problems from attention from economic problems at home. Make sure you know that stuff. Very similar to lots of the reasons why Japan invaded Manchuria in the first place. Okay, got a couple of minutes to see if we can do 935. Might not make it because it's another massive year. On the home front in Germany, but to be fair, this one kind of goes across the middle. Hitler holds a massive rearmament rally. He's now he's been doing it secretly since 1933. He's now openly flouting the Treaty of Versailles, which said he was only allowed 100,000 troops. It's going to rise to over 500,000 in 1935 after the introduction of conscription. And he's going to start the Luftwaffe as well. The Nazis are going to prove that one of their key aims to make the Jewish people second-class citizens and ban them from places like laundrettes and walking on the pavement at the same time as members of the Aryan race, with the Nuremberg laws, after the same city where they have those rallies every September. And in July, trying to get rid of the burdens on the community, they produced a sterilisation law to try to stop those people they saw as the Untermensch, the underhumans, breeding and diluting the gene pool in Germany. On the foreign side, you see Hitler starting to fulfill his aims. In January, the Tsar, as instructed by the terms of the Treaty of Versailles, has its plebiscite decided is it going to be part of Germany permanently or part of France. Overwhelmingly, the members of the Tsar vote, over 90% of them, to rejoin Germany. Big success for Hitler, big morale boost to Hitler, shows he's getting the tone right, and that German people know this could be the guy to lead them out of the humiliation of Versailles and back to their former greatness. You get another move towards that in June with the Anglo-German Naval Treaty, where you can see the Brits are recognising that Versailles is dead. They give the Germans 35%, or allow them 35% of their navy, proving that Hitler is starting to break the Treaty of Versailles very successfully. 15 minutes.